does this signal some sort of change?
Well, I'm not sure about that, because although I know Rishi thinks he's done an incredibly Herculean move by sacking Nadeem, there are many other reasons and areas why trust is lacking towards the Conservative Party. I think Rishi did the right thing, though, by waiting for an independent investigation. I do think we live in a climate where the media can pounce on the next scalp, demanding their demise, and I think it'd be wrong to just, sack someone on the basis of that. So based on the investigation, and then when the evidence was utterly, unequivocal, to then go through with the sacking, yes, fantastic, well done, Rishi, but on so many other areas, he's so weak. And in so many other areas, the Conservative Party has been so untrustworthy. However, I don't think it's a uniquely Conservative thing. I think had Labour been in power for the last 12 years, we've seen a similar amount of misconduct. Power corrupts at the end of the day, and the Conservatives have been in for a long, long time. So we've just seen it more with them than we have with any other party.
OK, Scarlett Maguire, what do you think?
Clearly, Rishi should have sacked Adil Zahawi as soon as he discovered that Zahawi had not been completely frank about his tax. It did not need an investigation to find out that Zahawi had not told Rishi Sunak everything that he knew, and had not said that, yes, when he was Chancellor, he was being investigated, had not said that he'd sent threatening letters to a journalist who was inquiring about it, that although I agree that quite often process should go on, for instance, looking at Dominic Raab, we need to make sure that he really did bully the 24 people who are accusing him of it, and we want to do it. With Zahawi, it was a matter of Rishi actually being weak and not sacking him when he should have been. So no, I mean, look, there are still, I mean, I listed the number of investigations that are going into what's wrong with the Conservatives, and let alone, starting to go down the line of, can we trust them on the economy? I mean, the answer is no.
Interesting, but your great leader, Keir Starmer, I mean, the Labour Party aren't sort of that much better from what I can see, but I would concede that I probably would have sacked him.
Tell me the bullying, tell me the problem with the tax affairs. Actually, at the moment, there is nothing that we can pick up in the Labour Party where there are any conflicts of interest. I mean, I've been
really. Oh, no, you can't get away with that. There are loads of conflicts of interest. I would say in most parties. I don't think you can really say that and think that is 100% correct. I mean, there's been quite a few issues.
We're talking about a man who was Chancellor of the Exchequer, who was running the tax affairs of this country at the same time as he was being investigated and had to pay a fine of over £1 million.
Listen, I'm not defending him.
Listen, that money.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying that I don't think the Labour Party are.
I mean, it's just not true in the Labour Party. That's
not with regard. I mean, I don't know about with regard to tax, but I'm just saying that both parties have their own crosses to bear. I'm going to come to Reem Ibrahim.
Well, I mean, I am a libertarian, so I'm not inclined to trust any government at all, let alone the Conservative or Labour government. But I think that Rishi Sunak was right to wait until the independent investigation in order to fire Nadeem Zahawi. I think that Belinda's right. I think we tend to sort of throw our hands in the air and point fingers at whoever we wish to in the media. And I think it's definitely right to just wait until we get that official investigation so that we know all of the facts. But again, look, whether or not we can actually trust the Tories, I mean, we've seen the amount of scandals that we've had over the past few years, but can we actually even trust them to be Conservative? I mean, we can't trust them to actually do what the name of the party is. We've got the highest taxes in 70 years. We've got various other issues within government policy that unfortunately aren't being fixed. So no, I don't trust the Tories because I don't trust any government.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to trust any of them. Stephen Pound.
Yeah, I'm a fairly trustworthy person, but look, you can rely on the Tories to make a complete Horlicks of everything at the moment. Doesn't matter what they do, they just seem to have his King Midas in reverse. Look, Nadeem Zahawi has actually still got the Tory whip. He's still going to stand as Conservative probably at the next election because he's very popular in his local constituency. And yet again, Rishi Sunak has made himself look weak, weak. I mean, you should have. I remember meeting Nadeem Zahawi a few years ago when we were both working in the gasworks, and he was wearing an absolutely marvellously elegant British warm overcoat with one of these superb garments. I said, "Crikey, Nadeem, that cost a few bob. How did you afford that?" And he said, "I got it on eBay." And I said, "Well, hang on a second, you're a multi-millionaire." And he said, "That's why I'm a multi-millionaire." I mean, he obviously liked a shilling. I think everybody knew that. The reality is he was fined by the HMRC. Now, whether it's a fine or whether it's a correction or not, we don't know. The main thing, it identified him as someone who was on the wrong side of the argument there. If Rishi had had any courage, any strength at all, he would sadly, because I said I quite like the bloke and he's certainly a good and capable minister, he would have got the tin tack there and then. As it is, Rishi had to stand up last Wednesday in PMQs and defend this bloke, and the optics of that are dreadful, because whether he's actually doing due process or not, whether he's doing the right thing, is irrelevant. He stood there on Wednesday in the eyes of the nation, defending, dismiss. It looks dreadful. They can be relied, but not to be relied to be a sane, sensible, trustworthy, honest government, I'm afraid.
Well, do you think that the Labour Party are trustworthy and honest? And, I mean, in your view, Stephen, I mean, I'm probably asking you a question that you're obviously going to say they are, but you know, do you think that the Labour Party have shrouded themselves in goodness as well, or do you think perhaps they need to take a look at themselves too?
Look, we've had some wrong uns in the Labour Party. Let's not pretend otherwise. But if you actually look at the Scarlet Maguire's list, just run your finger down that list of names, that list of scandals, that list of horrors, and just try to see if there's a read across for each one. Could you match that with Labour? You'd have to go back a very, very, very long time to actually come up with it. But I think the most worrying thing, is something that Lucy touched on earlier on. This actually reflects on the reputation of all politicians. People now think we're all as bad as each other. And that's the one thing I cannot forgive the Tories for. This sort of mephitic stench of sleaze that's rising from the rotting corpse of the Conservative government is actually tainting all of us. And that's the real problem. We've got a real job to do out there. And I'm looking to you, Nana, to shine the spotlight on us.
Well, it's a dirty job. Someone's got to do it. Belinda.
Yeah, can I just say? Yeah, Labour seem very keen to waft the whiff of sleaze over to the Conservative Party uniquely. Remember, for us, the Labour Party promised to respect the Brexit referendum and lied. That was a massive lie to the people of this country, because they then tried to rerun it through another referendum. They are not this squeaky clean, saint-like party. If they'd been in power for as many years, they would have had as much scandal as the next party. The truth of it is, generally, that respect for the job, the position of being an MP has been decreasing by the year, and politicians are not taking their job seriously enough, and they don't understand how much it angers the people that they're not careful about following the rules like we have to. But I think that's cross-party. It's not uniquely Tory.
Let's go to Scarlett. Scarlett, you've got to respond to that. Scarlett, will you respond to that one?
The thing is, it's just not true. I mean, Stephen is completely right. If you do the read across of the bullying, the sleaze, it just doesn't work. And being in power, I mean, Lucy's being in power a long time does mean that more and more things come up. But that level of sleaze, and the real problem is that Rishi Sunak did not sack him as soon as he knew that there was a problem. We all knew. I mean, everybody in Westminster, probably everybody in the country knew what the end was going to be. I mean, frankly, had Zahawi had any honour at all, he would have fallen on his sword and saved the Conservative Party and his boss, Rishi Sunak, an awful lot of trouble. Nobody could do anything as long as the Zahawi scandal was going on and as long as he hadn't been sacked.